Hi.
I
Excellent. Good
missed
to
you
see some.
guys.
Aw, that silly American holiday. We should reschedule it for you.
I agree.
Oh, well, for those of us other than those of us in the United States, I hope that you had a fantastic Thanksgiving and all that. And for all the business owners, I hope it was nice and quiet on the security front. I didn't hear any um, noise about anything blowing up. Adam or Ben, did you guys hear of anything?
No, it was quiet on my side too. I guess I'm happy and a little disappointed at the same time. I love hearing about our product stopping things
Right.
and kicking ass, but maybe we'll hear about those on the Thursday call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tim, already in the spirit of the season. I love it, man. He's forgotten how to unmute his mic. He's an
Yeah,
engineer. We're
the
gonna
way
let
I
him do
prefer him actually.
that. For anybody who hasn't met any of the Kaseya staff here, I think you know who Ben is. If you don't, you're about to find out.
You're gonna learn
Um,
today.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Anthony, Implementation Onboarding. We're joined today by a special guest, our friend Adam. Quick background, Adam started a one-man MSP and blew it up over 20 years, exited to come over to the dark side and help us build software as much as inhale it. And so he's been instrumental in giving us a lot of perspective and all his spare time when he's not falling off rocks. We're also joined by Tim. Tim, I didn't know you were going to make it here, man. Good to see you. Anybody who's had the opportunity to work with Tim, he is one of the sharpest engineers I've ever worked with. He also has a very good perspective on what you guys need out of applications. So if anybody in the Kaseya ecosystem is doing the 360 stuff, ask for Tim. You'll be in good hands.
And Connor's here too.
Oh, hello, Connor. I didn't see you sneak in. That's fantastic.
Mhm. We're getting the band back together.
Absolutely. No, Sam, I wanted for anybody who was with us 2 Thursdays ago, because we were the American holiday last week, sort of nuked our Thursday chat. Um, I don't remember the gentleman's name. He's another one of your Canadian friends, Tina. But he had some really good questions about Unify, and he was asking some deep and detailed questions. And I sort of had a side conversation with Adam. Why don't we have this here where the engineers are in the same room? So you don't have to explain this 10 times. Because as much as Adam likes to say the same thing over and over and over again, I thought we might be able to save him a little bit of pain there. Now, before we get into today's super secret presentation, thanks, Ben. Uh, before we get into that, does anybody have any questions, anything outstanding that's been bouncing around the brain pan that's been beaten up on you?
I had a wonderful realization just a moment
Yes, Sam.
ago while digging into the platform. While we're running around on the the alerts pages, the critical, medium, low, like the events. Um, can I just a suggestion? Can I click on the name and jump to that account where I can do like the account management and stuff? Maybe I'm looking at something and I go, oh, that's a big one, or I want to dig in and, jump to, straight to analysis or something with it.
I
Being able to
like
like
that
click
idea,
that
Sam.
there
Yeah.
to either dive in and start looking or head straight to the account so I can, oh, that's bad. Let me block the sign in. Save me a couple of clicks trying to remember how to, okay, I got to go to org. Now I got to go to the accounts. Now I got to find the account again. If I'm right there, might be nice.
Sam,
Yeah.
it's funny because one of my favorite things to demonstrate on the platform is, have you ever noticed, like, when you're looking at analysis or that, it's like, hey, there's a link to the PSA ticket. You can click on that, it jumps into your PSA, and that's how it looks in your ticketing system. Well, if you start in your ticketing system and you see, oh, here's an alert, somebody did something odd, down at the bottom of that, there's a hot link that'll take you back into SaaS alerts, and it doesn't just show you the alert, it shows you, I think it's like the entire day's activity by that one user.
Yeah, it jumps
So
into the analysis page for that.
yeah, so I love where you're going with that. Do me a favor. Have you been on the ideas portal?
I can't get into it. I just have a Microsoft OAuth to sign in. That's one of those, you
Not a
have to have
problem.
that Kaseya One account, so I can't get into the ideas portal.
Then do me a favor. Just write me a one paragraph and email it to me, and I will put that in the ideas portal, and then I will yell at them to get OAuth access as well. Because I like that idea. I like that contextual. If I'm an engineer and I'm doing something's crazy here, one click, I've got the entire analysis there. I think that would be a value to you guys. I know I would like that. Tina, how can we help?
Well, apparently Kale's been doing this all along and we have a nice little config on it, but Tina has been a little lazy on excluding travelers from SaaS alerts and Rocket. We obviously exclude them from our conditional access policies because we only allow access from Canada. So anybody traveling needs to submit a request. We exclude them from the cap. And then Tina gets lazy and doesn't exclude them from SaaS alerts and gets lots of alerts. So I just want to make sure I'm still doing it the quickest, best way. And I wrote down this question to ask, and then I sheepishly checked our configs, and I have a config. And the way that we've been doing them is to log into SaaS alerts, click on the org account, select the user, and add the country there. Is that still the best way to do it?
It is absolutely a way to do it if you want to have to remember when they come back from vacation.
Don't want to have to.
There we are. You and I are of one mind. Um, Adam, could you describe how to use power filters to accomplish that? If I was told, hey, Tina's going on vacation starting tomorrow and she'll be back on the 20th.
You knew there was something that
Well, about that.
Okay.
I didn't
We're
know if we were
like,
there yet, so that's why I wanted to ask you.
yeah, we're like 90% there.
Okay.
So
I thought so.
let me see if I can share the right thing because I feel like every time I do this, I manage to share something I'm not trying to share. Let me see. Google Chrome.
Tina, if the person is already
Did
out
I get it?
there and has logged in from Uzbekistan, where they take their annual holiday, then
Yeah,
we can. But doing it proactively, I wasn't sure if we were there yet.
that's
So I,
that's the problem. So I'll show you how to do it, and it's kind of a hack. Let's see.
Okay.
Uh, Let me see if I can do this is the way I would hack it if I were doing this.
Analysis, event type.
Oh, not IOC. Sorry. So I have to wait. I messed up and pushed the button and it's pulling a report and it's too much data. But so the long and short of it as I'm waiting for this page to load is oh, here we go. Run report. So we have advanced suppression now. So it's not actually power filters. Power filters is more of a permanent thing. Enhanced event suppression is where you can time things. The issue with the advanced event suppression right now is that we don't allow you to create one without starting from an existing event. And there's a lot of reasons why, but mainly it's just I haven't gotten to it yet, and I have a lot of work being developed elsewhere. But here's what I would do. I could theoretically look for any outside approved location event, and then I could click the suppress button here. And then um, here's the problem. Well, first off, if I could find one for the existing user, then it would work. Um, but if you'll notice, I can select like multiple accounts, and then I can select the account of the person who's going to go. I don't know if I have one in here. Yeah, so Adam, 1, 2, 3, 4. Um, I could then select an account manually that wasn't the one that triggered this particular event. And then I could pick the country, but I can't type the country in. So you kind of almost have to find an outside of your location event, for a country that you know the user is in, and then you hack it by going to multiple accounts and putting the user that you actually want in. And yes, I know how idiotic that sounds. But if I did manage to do that, then I have the user, I have the location or whatever, and then you could say date restriction, and you can pick when the person is traveling. And then you can say, I want to skip outside of location. I don't want to make any tickets. I don't want, respond or IOC to fire. And you could do it that way.
Okay, slow down for a second because I'm trying to take notes. How'd you get to that spot? So I've searched the person that I was too lazy to exclude,
Yep.
and I have an
You hit the
alert.
little bell.
Hit the bell. Hit the bell. Okay.
Ring the bell. And then if you have the actual account of the person who's traveling and the country that they are in, then you're golden and you can just put a suppression. That's what happens if you do it after the fact. If you're like, oh, I forgot, right?
I would just leave the user up top because it's the correct user, and then I would select the
Country.
country,
Yep.
and then next.
And then next. And then from here, you can put in a date and a time. Or sorry, not a time. Date and start date, end time. You have like traveling here, and you can skip IOCs and hide from analysis and skip this and no ticketing. And you basically have silenced outside approved location events for that country for the user.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So in the future, what you'll be able to do is you will actually be able to come into suppression rules and you'll be able to hit new, and then you can manually create one. Coming soon-ish, but
Any
that's
second now.
cool.
Go to suppression rules. Where's that? We don't
Under
have that yet.
events. So if you go on the left
Oh.
nav under events or
Oh
something,
yeah.
which again, to me, that should be under settings or something. It's kind of in the wrong place, but this was an update to the original suppression rules that we had. And we threw this together. And then the goal was that I was going to merge enhanced event suppression and power filters together into one unified product or one unified filtering system. And unfortunately, we got busy with RC2O and KSIM and a bunch of other things, and it didn't happen this quarter.
That's okay. I'm glad it was a valid question because there actually were some better ways.
Yes.
I thought I better
Absolutely.
focus on that. And the only way I'm going to focus on it is making you guys make me.
Now, that's a lot of work to have it automatically drop off. I probably would be even lazier, and I would just use power filters and put the country in for the user and then put a calendar event on my calendar to remove it. Is probably what I
That's
would.
what we currently do. Can you show me that then in power filters?
Sure.
Am
Yeah,
I doing it the same?
That part's been in the
We
product.
literally go into the org, select the user, and add the country temporarily.
That's exactly what it is. Yep. So if
Oh,
you
it
go
is.
to org, you can do org level stuff here, but that's pretty high. You wouldn't want to whitelist the entire org. So you can go to an account. And then from inside the account, let's say Adam Ant here, I can come in and I can edit the suppressions and I can add a country.
Okay, that's what we've been doing.
Yep. And then you just have to remove it. You have to remember to remove it later, which is obviously not ideal, but it is the
We
world.
have to do that for the caps anyway, conditional access policies. So I just want to make sure I wasn't missing a better way.
Now, so again, I'm dreaming. Please, this is product. I get to play here and pretend that everything in my brain is going to get made and, all those things. So may not decide to do this, might be 6 years from now. I don't know. But we've been talking about taking the power filters and actually pushing them into the cap. So now you don't have to worry about both. And if you scheduled it, it would take it out at the end of the schedule. And so obviously that's amazing, and we'll get there someday.
I'm going to be asking for that every week now. Just so you know.
I'm going to stop showing up if you're going to bother me.
Tina?
Yeah.
The exercises left for the student is what my professors always used to say. There are partners out there doing exactly what Adam talked about. One of the guys demonstrated he's got a Google form. He makes people fill out. This is their place they're going, times and dates. And then that runs through N8N or Roost and touches both Microsoft and SaaS alerts and sets those and then turns them down at the end of that period. So it can be done today. It takes a little bit of a lift, but it can be done. Now, when we can do that at scale, then Adam will be a happy person and you will be jumping up and down and being happy
Yep.
as well.
There is an API and it is exposed, so you can do it, like Anthony said. But
It's
I'm
work.
looking to bring it in the UI eventually.
We're small enough that it's easier for us to do things manually than to automate them sometimes.
Mhm.
There's a time and a place. Absolutely. Great question, Tina. Thanks for bringing that up. Brett, are you still with us? Did we lose Brett? No, I see Brett. Um,
Yes, I am. Sorry, I couldn't find the
absolutely.
mute button.
No, not a problem. Brett, I'm going to share my screen. Actually, I have to get into AutoCAD or AutoCAD. Jesus. I have to get into
AutoCAD.
the
What career are you in, Anthony, right now?
um,
You know you left
dude,
that.
I did. Indeed I did. But my significant sweetie is now working for that company and helping them out. So the render man and everything is all back on the brain. Let me go find. How do I even get in this?
What happened to Senor Ben, guys? Good morning.
Good morning.
Replaced by Senor Adam.
I think Ben is co-locating between his new current office and his new current plumbing problem. So he may be in and out of view. So now's your opportunity to say things about him that you want to, make him watch the video to go back and rewatch this.
I am so glad Ben is not here today.
Brett, that's a very common question. Yeah, now here I can show you this. Simply figure out how to share in Zoom. See, I'm always using this, but I'm always watching other people do it. There we are. I thought there we are. Very common question because we want to share entire screen. We want to monitor user activity. All right. Is everybody seeing the SaaS Alerts platform?
Not yet.
Rendering.
There you go.
There it is.
Okay. So, couple of layers to this, Brett. At the organization, I might see that these guys are tripping that trigger a lot, that 31 files. And I might go into basic settings and say, you know what? This company is very paperwork heavy. I'm going to set that to 75 and take that for a test drive.
Okay.
That's kind of nice because now we've quieted it down. But I think more importantly, we've identified how this company is using the software you gave them. That might help us understand what they're doing with their software every day, maybe see some other things that we might be able to sell them, whether it's a file management product or a VPN product or something. But at the very least, you're going to have a better understanding of your clients. But if it's not the entire company at a high average, maybe it's just one user. I've got this one user that, well, let's see, this guy. This one user does, I don't know, monthly archiving or something. Well, I'm going to set it to 300 for that guy. So that's a quick and easy way to, at a company level or at a user level, shut that down. It's all that tracking, Brett?
Okay. All right, I got that.
Right on. While you're in the spotlight, Brett, any other questions?
I do have another one. I'll put a text together in a minute. It's just
Very good.
weird. We
Very good.
constantly get these weird alerts. I don't even know. Like we'll get a token theft alert, and then after that, another alert will come in right behind it saying that a user opened a file from SharePoint or from OneDrive, and that
And it was
happens pretty
in
constantly too. And it's always one of our two of our clients of our MSP, but it might be several different users in each of the organizations.
Brett. I'm going to throw a link into the chat here in a minute. What you're probably seeing is Microsoft moving your data around the globe. And a lot of folks are sort of used to this. They've been on the platform for a while, but if you're new, we definitely need
Yeah,
to cover
no.
this briefly. Okay, well, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Um,
no problem.
Microsoft, to their credit, is very good about telling me where was a person's butt when they logged in. They'll tell me where that laptop was, where that keyboard was. But once you're inside
Yeah.
the Microsoft ecosystem, Microsoft tells me where that file is located. And that spreadsheet is going to be in Dubai today and Paris tomorrow and the Netherlands next week. Microsoft, either at rest or in transit, is moving your data all over the globe. And you're finding it
Okay.
is incredibly noisy. So I would say I'll put the link in the chat, but go find our YouTube. Look at some of the getting techie stuff that Ben has done. We've got an easy way of quieting this down by allowing activity inside a Microsoft data center to be nice and quiet. It's
Okay.
like it's happening in Kansas. I allow lists in the United States. What if I could allow lists all of those data centers? Or maybe just a single data center without a city, a country, or anything attached. Then you're just looking at Microsoft data centers. If it's happening inside of a Microsoft data center, I don't care. There's a nice video on that
Right.
one, but dig into that. And if
Okay.
that doesn't make any sense, just, reach out directly. We'll jump on a quick call or something.
Okay. Or I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Exactly. Exactly. I like that.
Yeah, and I do
Um,
appreciate you guys doing this. This is my second one that I've joined in, and it's like
oh, right
it's
on.
nice to hear different ideas and different things going on. So thank you for this.
Oh, you're most welcome, Brett. There will be somebody on this call that I will not point out. He, after joining one or two of these calls, reached out to his account manager and copied me. He says, "Why the hell don't the rest of Kaseya have this kind of interactivity? Because we're not the smartest guys in the room. You are. You guys are seeing things that we're not going to see. We have things that metrics that we're held to that don't allow us to be miserable all day long. Guys like Enrique, he's out there boxing 24/7, man, when he's not skiing. So yeah, I appreciate that, Brett. And that's the sort of community aspect that I think when we were SaaS Alerts Direct, we had a lot of success with. So we're trying to continue that and keep this moving forward now that we're part of a larger corporation.
Okay. Well,
Excellent.
Good
Absolutely.
success.
Anthony, before, oh, I think I heard Tina first. You can go ahead, Tina, if that was Tina.
Oh, she's so shy. Go on,
I'm
Tina.
just saying, I agree with Brett. It's awesome. It's the reason I'm here is because of this community and because of you guys. So I'm glad Brett said that, and welcome, Brett.
thank you.
Tim, as
Yep.
a longtime, say, employee, what's your perspective on this?
So I'm gonna share my screen real quick just to
Please.
hit on the files touched piece where it's hitting that 31 limit. And of course, Anthony showed you how to change that. Just keep in mind painting with a broad brush. When you go into basic settings and make this 75, it's for all accounts, right? That can be in itself risky. If Susan at the front desk never does anything, I don't want Susan being at 75, right? So your job is actually to go into your analysis, figure out, pull those events, figure out which company is creating the most noise, and then which account is creating the most noise. 99% of the time, it's between 2 and 5 accounts. It is not the entire organization creating this noise for you. So don't paint with a broad brush. Get as narrow as you can. When you see the user that's creating the noise, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. One, is this expected? If not, I'm calling my customer right away. If it is expected, is it a one-off or a constant noisemaker? If it's a one-off, I'm not quieting that noise because when they do this once a month, I want to vet with my customer that it was actually them doing it once a month. If it's an everyday occurrence, then I'm going to whitelist that at the individual user base, which is where I'm going to go to accounts and individually uplift those individuals over here on the right-hand side. Everybody has their own trigger limit.
Yeah.
The only reason I will reverse that telemetry or thought process is if out of 32 accounts, 25 people are hitting that limit, I am not updating 25 people. I'm going to come here, uplift the limit here, and then go reduce the other 7 that are not hitting those numbers. Because again, I do not want to uplift everybody. Also,
Right.
you don't need to do any guesswork. When you pull the telemetry here and it tells you, hey, they hit, whatever files they hit, the little paper icon right here is your best friend. Just click it. It's going to then pull the amount of files that they actually hit in that notification where these guys are set to, I think, 10. They did 28. So when you see 31, it's not 31. Click the paper clip, click the little paper icon. We will tell you the exact number of files they hit and which files they actually hit. So that way you can be, again, very specific and confirm it's something that they should be doing in the first place. So basic settings is great, but again, always think about this as painting with a broad brush. I
Gotcha.
actually tell most of the partners that I talk to reverse the logic in the sense of once I quiet down the 2 or 3 people from here, my goal is actually to lower this number to 25, see if it creates any new takers. 20, any new takers, all the way down until I basically create Armageddon as far as noise goes. And then I'm going to go back to my sweet spot because, again, and I always use this in my calls, if pesky Susan at the front desk figures out she's getting fired because her and Barbara from HR are best friends, and Susan wants to be vindictive and download as much as she can because she's going to the competitor, I want to know sooner than later. And if I've made her 75 or 100 or 500, I may not find out till it's too late. So always just keep that into perspective.
Okay. Yeah, and I do need to go back to the general systems engineer and talk to him and need to talk to the client to make sure that even that 30 limit can be reduced or expanded and figure that out. So a little bit of footwork before I can do anything, but I got you. I appreciate
Brett,
the clarification there.
there's some great reports over on the reporting side of the house that might make this a little more simple and less granular. If you need to present this to the clients, talking about, either an individual user showing all their file activity or, maybe the entire stack. So play with that. A lot of times the data in there I end up dumping out into spreadsheets anyways, but at least it's a little bit cleaner. I love the analysis tool. It's one of my favorite parts of the platform, but it's for us engineers. There's a lot of granular stuff in there that may just confuse your clients. So play with those.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Absolutely. Tina, thank you for reminding me that I missed Darren. I don't know how I missed that. Darren had the question about disabling shared mailbox logins. Microsoft doesn't give us fantastic telemetry on types of accounts, but for shared mailboxes versus global admins, I do have good telemetry on that. So if you put a control using Fortify in place that's meant to, in the future, moving forward, block sign in to any newly created shared mailboxes, it will have no effect, to the best of my knowledge, it'll have no effect on any global admin accounts, either that exist or that you create in the future, because they are separate account types. But it's a good question. It's a good question. All righty, let's see. I think I missed somebody else. Dan, I'm sorry, I always forget his last name. Milliken? Is he still here?
Milligan.
There he is.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi. Dan had an interesting problem yesterday that I couldn't solve, and I said, you know what? Enrique will be on the call. He'll solve it for us. No. Dan, if you want to share your screen, I'm happy to pause that recordings. Thanks for bringing that up, Dan. Like I said, Dan and I played with this a little bit yesterday, and I came to the end of my rope. My MCSE has been expired for a few minutes, so I really appreciate most people smarter than me looking into this.
Thanks.
Um, so I don't think I missed anything else in the questions. Does anybody else have any outstanding questions right now before I let Adam do something? Oh, I'm sorry. There was two people that had their hands up. James, what's your question?
Hey, good morning. Sorry, I just joined. I was in another meeting, so I didn't have my hand up earlier, but I did have a quick question. And I'm trying to explain this better. So we ran into an issue or some confusion, I think, very recently, where when we were trying to make setting changes at the organization level, it suddenly started saying we had to fill in a domain/URL for the client, which we never did before, and also set the licensing. Support basically told us, I guess this has something to do with some Kaseya integration for clients that are using licenses, I guess, for Kaseya SIM and Kaseya something else. We have hundreds and hundreds of clients in there that don't have this. So every time we want to like add some kind of global whitelist for the client, we have to go in there and put in something. And I guess they said it doesn't really matter what we put in as long as it's unique. Is there any way we can turn that back off so we don't have to do this for something that doesn't seem to apply to us?
James, I do apologize. That came up a few months ago. Where the root of it is this. Um, there are still people that buy SaaS alerts direct from now Kaseya, but I mean, that's the only product they've got. We've got some people on this call like that. Um, and that's fantastic, but I have to have a certain skew for those guys. People who then buy it as part of a package within Kaseya's ecosystem, the 365 user. I have to have a different SKU for them. And then there's a couple of other layers of complexity. Do you have Kaseya SIM or not? Some things like that. So the challenge is it was supposed to all default to one thing. And I guess that didn't happen. So I apologize about that. But if you need to go make changes, you're going to have to reset that one time for each one of your clients. Remind me, are you, James, are you direct or are you part of the Kaseya? Do you buy through Kaseya or user? Or...
I am not sure exactly how we do the
That's
billing.
fair.
Somebody else in a different department does all that stuff.
Exactly. Man, I just do computers here. Um, yeah. So the long and the short of it is, we want to. It doesn't matter where you set that to standard, sim, whatever today, but in the future, as we evolve into a different billing system, which is where we're headed with all this, so that we can have more transparency and better, more accurate billing. Um, that will matter. So we want to, James, reach out to me, just Anthony at SaaS Alerts, please. Email me and remind me to look into this, and we'll find out who your account manager is and make sure that we know what your licensing is. And then I can tell you, set them all to be this so that when this goes live, we'd end up not overcharging or undercharging or not charging or something. We want to make sure this is accurate.
Well,
So
yeah,
I wouldn't.
I think support set to standard because the other ones were like KSIM and some other stuff which doesn't apply
Mhm.
to us. So, and then that's fine. I think it already had standard in there and it's grayed out. But now, I know you mentioned like a couple months ago, but it seems like whatever change happened was much more recent. Maybe we just haven't changed anything at the organizational level, but like it now requires that company like domain/URL to be filled in too, which is that definitely seems new.
That came out about the same time. And for anybody who's not familiar with that, when you're bringing on a new client, you'll be forced now to put in a domain. That's to identify if it's an EDU, really, if it's a school or a SLED. And then if it's just a regular .com or .beer or whatever, then it'll be standard. But that, again, that can change it can move the needle on your pricing. So we do want to get that right, James. If they told you to put standard in, I hate to tell you this, but turn one of your summer interns loose and have them go set that to standard across all of your clients. Now, there may be a way to do this programmatically via API,
That's what
but
I was looking for.
yeah, I figured.
I've requested that just now with one of the developers is to see if we can push that out. I don't know about the domain part. We might be able to
Yeah,
query from like the account, and so it
but
might be
what if I've got
possible.
multiple domains? Then that,
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
support
yeah.
basically said like it doesn't really matter what we put in there. Like it's not like it doesn't have to be their
Mm,
365 domain. It could be any domain for them. I guess it's not really
yeah.
used for anything. So
well,
just put
there you are. If we do it via API, put google.com and everything.
put google.edu so we get the discount for education, right?
Yeah,
I'll let you
careful.
know if I get any traction from the dev team on that. I just told them that's kind of what we need API access for.
I think they did say it has to be unique, but it's not really used for anything. And if we're not using some other
It
licensing,
is purely used for validation to present the proper items in the drop-down list for the license. That's really what it's used for. Um, and if you do put EDU in there jokingly and you're not actually licensed for EDU, then that should cause issues on your billing.
Well,
So I would recommend that you put the right thing in that according to what you actually are licensed for with SaaS alerts and Kaseya.
gotcha. Okay, I appreciate it. But
absolutely, James.
there sounds like there's no way around this.
It is
Sadly,
mandatory.
yeah,
Yeah.
for our
I'll
legacy partners.
I'll
Yeah, go
continue
ahead.
to bark up the API tree. If we could get it accessible via the API and patchable via that method, it would be a pretty simple automation to do that across every client at once. So
Yeah. I actually had the idea, and it was not implemented, of grabbing the primary domain on the tenant and just
yeah,
placing it in there automatically.
I mean
And
that's what I was thinking.
That seems like the obvious answer, and I can't remember why that was not an accepted method. I think it had to do with the fact that we wanted people to actually enter it in manually, select the license type, and make sure everything is right.
Well, and I'm pretty sure in our case, we're actually creating the organizations via the API through ServiceNow integration. So
Hmm.
I looked at some that were just created in the last couple of weeks, and they didn't have that defined either. So I think there's an
Let's see.
issue where we're using the API in some cases, but maybe that we don't have that set. I mean, and we could easily, well, I'm assuming we probably easily add that to our provisioning process, but we're going to run into issues where that's not set.
I don't see that as a field though, and that's the biggest
It's the
issue with
challenge
when I'm
today.
looking at the API. Yeah, is as if it's not a field, you're never going to be able to define it. So that needs to be addressed. So because if it can be added as when you create a customer, there's no reason to say it couldn't be added to the patch so that it'll update the customer. It'll basically just pull a list of your orgs, look up the domains, whatever, and then put them in there. So.
I do like the idea of the automated. So like if you add like when you do the 365 integration, just pull the domain. Like if there's nothing to find there, just pull.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're using the same licensing. Like some of the automations I wrote will basically just pull the list of organizations and just put drop down. So it'd be a lot easier to do that. And like Adam said, at least propose a domain name. And if it's wrong, have it be adjustable. But need that field first.
Great question, James. Appreciate you bringing that up. I believe it was Stephen who had his hand up about 20 minutes ago. Was that you, Stephen?
Yeah, it was me. I didn't want anything. I just wanted to say hello, everybody, and I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving and all that. That's all I
Right
wanted to
on.
say.
Steven, you too.
Well said. Well said. Um, our friend Sujit is the reason why Adam is here. Sujit had some solid questions around Unify, care, and feeding of in last 2 weeks ago, Thursday's call. And I said to Adam, hey, you know what? It's been a while since we've done a level set. I know there's a lot of guys here that could use a quick refresher on that. So I asked Adam to join us here and just give us a 15-minute rundown of where Unify is, what we're seeing partners do with it. And, he's in product. What magical flights of fantasy does he want to do with it in the future?
Is this where I have to work?
Yes.
Oh, all right. I didn't know I was like doing a presentation. I thought I was doing Q&A, but let me
Well, and
date
let's
this.
start with that.
We
Is
only
anybody
left you
here?
15 minutes, so
Yeah. Let's start with that then. That's absolutely fair. Is there anyone here that doesn't know what Unify is? Okay. So Unify is enriching alerts everywhere we can with data from your RMM tools, whether it's N Central or whether it's Data RMM and someday Autotask or sorry VSA 10. Come see us next spring. This is where the magic happens.
All right.
Adam?
I'll do a quick run through in case people are like, "Oh, I didn't even know that." So, all right. So first things first, if you connect your RMM, we are going to pull the devices in. Now, first thing you might notice, hey, Adam, you have Microsoft in there. I don't have Microsoft in there. That's because I am actively working on getting that into the product and am very excited to do that. I don't know when it's going to be there, but soon is the answer. So we pull in the devices. Let's say Data RMM. Well, there's not really great data, so I'll leave it Microsoft. What we do is we pull the devices in, and then we take the IP address, the operating system, the device name, basically any data that we can collect from that RMM. And then we go and we hunt down events that used that IP, that OS, the device name, et cetera, et cetera. And we go, hey, we think that this device here is actually Vlad. Is that right? And we can come in and I can go, yeah, totally. That's him. And then we're like, oh, hey, look, this one here is also Vlad. And one of the things that we also do is if I hover over the percentage here, you're going to get this fly out. And it basically says like, why did you decide that? And so in here, we can see the event IP address is matching the device's IP address, and we're like confident about 76%. The OS matches the event OS matches the device OS 100%. The device name matches the device name 100%. And so we take all of these different data points and we marry them together into an overall confidence rating of what we have. We also have a situation where here you'll notice all of these lines are green, by the way. Green means that there is a single account that we are fairly certain is the right account, and it's a high level certainty. Actually, I take that back. Multiple accounts does it too. This is how long it's been since I've done a Unify demo. It's been a while. It has to do with the confidence level being over a certain amount. So we recommended Vlad here, hey, look, I've got two accounts and they're both really high. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this thing. And it's basically saying, hey, this account and this account are both using that computer. And so I can make it a shared device by putting both accounts in there. And it immediately says, okay, this is a device that multiple people are using. Or I could actually just pick one and then it's a single device. Once I have mapped the accounts, which again used to be a requirement, not a requirement any longer to map accounts, there is some benefit to doing so, but for the most part, you can ignore this if you want. I'll talk a little bit about that shortly. The next piece is I have a map tab here. And so this is going to tell me who I have already mapped to my accounts, and I can change it, I can remove it, I can do all sorts of things from here. I have ignored devices. So in the event that you're like, I don't want to map this one, I don't want to deal with it, I can click ignore and it just disappears into the ignored devices. The next item is I have the automation tab. And in here, we can actually automate all the things that, that you would do manually. So I can come in and I say, hey, listen, I want you to automatically map devices. I want to do it for all orgs, or maybe I'm going to exclude this one. I don't want to do it for that particular org. Or I could say, I don't want to do it from any of them. And then I want to pick the ones that I want to choose it for. The next thing, I have the option. I can say, hey, do I want to map every account over a confidence score for this device? Or do I want to map only the highest one? Or do you want me to map only if it is the only account over the confidence score? So there's different things. We usually just say, hey, map them all. And then I have the ability to select the confidence score. Obviously, higher is better. So I usually start high, and then I work my way down as I start to go. I also have the ability to say, run what if. So based on these settings here that I have selected, like what would we do if we were running the confidence right now? And, why are, what is it that we're doing? So basically, what is the org? What is the device? Who's the user? And I kind of see like, okay, 70s, let me look at 100. What would happen if I picked 100? Well, then I would only map these 7. Or like, what if I picked 95? Where am I at? And so get your comfort level there. Next up is unmapping. So the flip side, do you want me to go ahead and pull accounts out if they drop below a certain confidence level score? Next up is device correlation. This is an interesting thing, and I developed it. We have not given it a lot of love. I expect to give it a lot more love next year. But this is so that, for instance, if I go to unmapped here, and I see the same device, you'll notice I have the same device here over and over and over again. It might be coming from different products. So if, yada, yada, yada. Okay, it looks like they're probably, there's a few coming from different wares. But basically, let's say I come in and I map desktop in Microsoft to the Vlad user. And now all of a sudden, I have Datto RMM that pulls in a new device, and it's got the same device name, and the IP is the same, and the MAC address is the same. I'm going to just copy the Vlad mapping from the original device to the newly detected device. So I'm not going to make you go and map them again because we are pretty certain that it's the same device. So that's what device correlation does. is we're basically going to compare MAC address, IP, host name, OS, etc. And when we see the same device across multiple products, RMM, EDR, Rocket Cyber, Microsoft, we're going to join those kind of together and we're going to replicate the mapped users. I rolled through that really quickly. Before I move to how this actually is used, I'll pause for a second.
Adam, why is there a 50% basement?
Good question. That is in the KB, but basically 50% means the IP and the OS matches. That's it. That's all we're seeing. We don't see anything else. You'll note here, that's why this here says 100%, 100%, and then 0. That is the base level matching. And the problem with that one is if you guys have a bunch of imaged computers and they're all sitting behind the same corporate firewall, you're going to have the same public IP address. So at that point, 50%, not a really good idea. Unless you have a lot of remote users and you've got a good mix of OSs, then 50% might do you good. I would not recommend taking 50% to the bank. And if you'll notice in our automation, I actually don't let you select 50%. 65 means that I now have an IP, an OS, and one other data point that is reliable.
Thank you. And one other question. Doesn't every single alert give me all of this data from the hardware?
No, it doesn't actually. So let me pop over into analysis and hopefully I have decent data. So in order for Unify to do the magic that Unify does, the product that we're monitoring and the event that we're getting has to provide us device information. And not all products and not even all events for a product support the device information. Some, like Microsoft, 80% of the events, we get the device information in it and we can do the magic. However, there's a lot of stuff that we actually don't get the device information from. Let me pick, let's see. Well, here's an example right now. So here is Datto RMM, and I'm getting incomplete device data. So when I click this, it's saying, hey, Datto RMM did not provide the required data points to do this magic. So in this instance, I got an IP, but I don't have an OS. I don't have a device name. I don't have an ID. I got nothing else. So I am not confident on an IP alone that this is a something I can map to a device. So unfortunately, in this instance, you get incomplete device data. The flip side is I have a couple other items. So this is the one I was mentioning earlier, where you don't actually have to go in and map accounts to devices anymore to get a benefit from Unify. So in this particular one, this is actually an unmapped event. So what this means is we actually detected the device. We did the comparison between the Microsoft event and the Microsoft device here, and we actually have enough data that we're pretty certain we know whose computer it is. Or no, actually, let me take it back. We are certain that this computer exists in Unify. So we know in some fashion this event occurred on a device that we have visibility into and is in Unify. But we haven't mapped it to a user yet. So that's why we see unmapped. And so unmapped to me is still a positive experience. So if I see unmapped in an event, that means I at least found the device in the directory, even though I haven't mapped it to a user yet. Whereas if I come in here to unmanaged unknown, now this is something that is a little more interesting. So this means unmanaged unknown means I got an event, but I could not find a single computer inside Unify or device inside Unify that matches that event data. So let's see, Microsoft. Yeah, so unknown. So this is basically an IP. We got an event from Microsoft. It's going, hey, here's the IP. I have the OS, but I looked inside Unify using this IP and this OS, and I didn't find a device. So that could be a BYOD. That could be a situation where there's a token theft. There could be all kinds of reasons. And so initially you think, hey, let me make a respond rule that just locks people out the second they log in from an unknown device. You do not want to do that because BYOD, people logging in from home, whatever it is, there's no agent loaded, which means we will not have the device inside Unify. You do not want to use unknown as the only way to make a respond rule. Now, what you might do is say, if somebody logs in from an unknown location and the device's status in Unify is unknown, and they created a Outlook inbox rule and they changed an MFA thing all at the same time, like now I'm interested. And so that's a really cool way to use Unify. Another item, so we have mapped to this account. So this one is a very, very good thing. So this one basically means not only did we get the device data from Microsoft, we found the device inside Unify, and by the way, the user matches the device that is mapped, or the account has been mapped to the device. So we actually see the like yes, 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 yes across the board. There are other ones that I do not have right here, but you might actually have mapped to a different account. So now that means we found the device, it's in Unify, but Vlad isn't the person who I thought was the person using that computer. Did somebody borrow a computer? Did somebody sneak into the CEO's office and sit down at their desk? I don't know, but something's up. So that's it inside events. And I only have a few minutes. So I'm going to go one more thing, or actually, I will open up to questions while I switch to another screen.
So Adam, if a user has a 0% confidence score, but they've been with that company for like over a decade, and a partner goes to try to manually map it, and there's like multiple users showing up, that's not that person, why would it be just completely zero? And he's been monitoring them with the product for months.
Very good question. So if I go to, you're talking about unmapped. So if I'm in here and I have a desktop and the confidence is zero, like I just do not have a recommendation for them at all. Usually that's one of two things. One, they are using an RMM that doesn't give us all the data necessary. So for instance, at Datto EDR does not provide us public IP addresses, recent users, anything. So we can't actually automatically map EDR. It'll always be zero. And that's actually the product why I developed the correlation, was because I do have some data. It's just not the data I need to make Unify fire up. So that's one reason. The other reason, or actually the fix, well, for that one, the fix is use the device correlation. The other scenario is on the Microsoft front. Some of the RMMs, like N-Central, for instance, doesn't provide us a public IP address. We can't do the linkage there either. But what we can do is implement the Microsoft Entra Device ID correlation that we have built into the product. So there's a script you can run on your RMM that populates a custom field called Microsoft Entra Device ID with the Entra Device ID. And then we use that to do the linkage to the activity inside. And if you do that, the confidence scores will drastically improve from like 50s, zeros and 50s to 90s and 100s. All right, so the last piece I wanted to show you guys, and I don't know, let me see if I can, no, let's see. Let me just grab anything I can possibly grab real quickly. I know we're almost out of time, if not out of time, but in the suppression rules, I can actually come in here and I can choose a Unify status. So I could, similar to the thing that we talked about early in the call, Tina, you can do an outside approved location for a specific country if the Unify status is mapped or unmapped or known. And so now you can start to mix the outside approved location suppression with Unify status. And so, for instance, Tina is in Mexico. That's not expected. but Tina's in Mexico on a known Unify device, Enrique, known device, which means she probably just didn't tell us she was going to a different country. Because otherwise, somebody knows Tina's credentials, MFA'd, and stole her computer and went to another country. That's weird. That's the quick rundown. I know I'm out of time.
Adam, I appreciate that. I know that was a lot crammed into a small space. And as Adam sort of said at the top of the call, for anybody that missed it, um, he has 5,000 great ideas from he and his team and feedback from folks like you. And we get time to do about 5 of them each quarter. So watch this space. We're going to continue to improve and polish these. It's always progress. It's not always perfection. But keep the feedback coming. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in 2 weeks. For those of you who are foolish enough not to join us on Thursdays.
See y'all. Thanks for having me.
Awesome
Thanks, everybody.
call. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.